Hey friends, when I realized that paying an extra $120 a month could save me almost over $60,000 and knock off 6 years from my mortgage, I got super hyped, right? I started playing around with the calculator to determine, okay, if I put extra in, if I put 500 in, what would it look like? What, just running the numbers. And then I had to catch myself and I realized, okay, wait a minute. It can't just be about the numbers, right? It can't I need to come up with some type of system that's simple, sustainable for me to follow, not cause me to get stressed out on this journey to paying this thing off early. And so that's what I really started thinking about. And here's what I came up with. So the first thing that I realized that, I'm going to do as a part of this journey ahead is to automate everything as much as I can, right? Kind of set it and forget it. My mortgage is already paid automatically. It comes out of my account. So I'm thinking I need to do the same, with any extra payments that I'm going to make, this $120 that I identify, or any other money that comes in that I'm going to put towards that mortgage. It has to be some type of, automation or a schedule for me, weekly, right? I'm thinking if it's something that I can't automate, maybe I can set up what I call financial Fridays, setting some time aside on Fridays to just knock that thing out. Y'all, my dog out here barking, but sorry, but anyway, yeah. So I have to be able to automate it, which keeps it simple, out of sight, out of mind. I don't really have to worry about it. So in addition to the automation, another thing that's very important is being able to track, all the different sources of the money, how much, and to redirect where I can. And what I mean by redirect is, I mentioned in another video is that, I already had money set aside, right? But I was using it for, one thing, whether it was savings or whatever have you. Now I'm just going to redirect that same amount of money and put it towards, this mortgage payoff. So it's not like I had to create the money or whatever have you. The money is already there. I'm just giving it another job to do. So that just brings up another, important point. Anytime that you're talking about your finances, any money coming in or going out needs to have a job, right? Give it a job. Look at it as your employees. Put your money to work for you versus you just working for it, all right? So yeah, I have to be able to, redirect and capture, any money that comes through my banking account. And just some examples of money that might come through my bank account would be, like tax refunds, any birthday money, any interest that I'm earning on different accounts, the cash flow from my rental properties, that type of stuff. I need to make sure that I've already identified, okay, what am I going to do with this extra money when it comes in. And another thing as far as capturing, and I probably should have mentioned it under the automation piece, one thing that I'm going to do as well is I want to set up a separate account outside of my checking account, right? So an account that's at an online bank I can't get to, I will have to transfer the money for a couple days because once again, I want to make it hard so that I'm not tempted, right, to spend it on other things, but I want to make it easy so that it's automatic by making it automatic. So yeah, by opening up that new account, specifically designating it for money that I want to put towards the mortgage, I think that's going to really make things a lot easier for me. And here's one thing I'm going to do too, and I don't know if you guys know this, but there are certain accounts, like I'm thinking about opening it up at I got Navy Federal, or I might do my Capital One, but I know Capital One allows you to do this. You can actually rename your accounts, right? So instead of it saying like checking or savings account, you can give it a fun name. So I think I'm gonna rename mine to Mortgage Freedom, Mortgage Freedom Fund or something like that. Because I have other ones like my vacation fund, my new car fund, that type of stuff. I like renaming my accounts, so it just helps me to remember what job that account is doing. Instead of having one big pot of money and you're like, you don't know how much is for this or how much is for that, I like to keep my stuff separate. So that's how I'm gonna go about not just redirecting the money, it's also tracking it and stuff like that. And another way I'm going to retrack is to use, another way I'm going to track, I should say retract. Where'd that come from? I'm combining words. But another way I'm going to track is by using what's called an amortization schedule. And I'll show you that in another video. But basically what that is, it allows me to put, extra payments in there and see how it impacts my mortgage payoff over time. So I'm going to do that as well. So yeah, automate, then redirect and track. And another thing that I think is so very important, probably even more so than those other two, is just to remain flexible. Yeah, to be intentional and to remain flexible. Paying off a mortgage, early, my goal is 5 years. But I'm okay if that turns into 6 or 7 years, because ish happens, right? I mean, stuff happens in life, and I'm not gonna stress myself out or, beat myself up or consider myself a failure if I don't reach it in 5 years. I want to remain flexible. That's why, coming up with this system, it had to be something simple. It had to be sustainable. So just remaining flexible and very, intentional. Like, perfect example, I was looking into bi-weekly payments, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but now I learned that doing bi-weekly payments how I thought, it's not going to work out. But I'll share that with you in another video. But I only share that now to say, when I learned that, okay, that I got to be flexible. I got to change things up, that type thing, and be okay with it. And it reminds me, one of the things we used to say in the Air Force back in the day, flexibility is the key to air power, right? You never know what might happen in life and stuff like that. You have to remain flexible and patient. The Lord working on me with this patient thing, but, definitely remain flexible is another part of this system. I have to keep telling myself, 1 month may be up and the other month may be down, whatever have you. But like I said before, this is a journey, and as we know, there's ups and downs on any journey. So, with that, I just wanted to share that. This is the system, the way ahead on this journey. I hope that something that I've said, has piqued something in you. If you're, deciding to pay off your own mortgage or pay off some other debt, or to do whatever goal you have with, your money, come up with some type of system that works for you. And the thing is, it has to be simple. You don't want nothing that you can't, keep up over time. So make it as simple as possible. So with that, I would love for you guys to follow along with me on this journey. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you're notified, and I'll see you in the next video.